us.
Okay.
And you'll see your red dot too. You should. Oh, there we
Welcome, welcome. We are here live on Creator Source of Inspiration. I'm your host today, Colleen Burrell, and usually I'm the one behind the scenes here on CSI. But today we're switching things up, and I get to interview the woman who usually asks the questions, Karina Carj'an herself.
are.
So welcome, Karina. We are so
Thank you.
excited to have you.
Thank you very much, Colleen. Yes, it's kind of strange being on the other side at the moment, but this is wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. And it's really because a lot of people were starting to ask questions like, who is this person? So we decided, okay, come and ask me. I'm here. I'm real. I'm tangible.
Absolutely. Well, yes, we're excited to pull back the veil a bit today and get some more insight. You have shared some glimpses before about, how you've gotten into this path, but today we'd love for you to take us a bit further into some personal experiences that have shaped you. So I would love to start off if you can tell us a bit more about a time that you received some guidance, perhaps in an unexpected way.
Well, yes. Well, let's first go like a way back. And the way back is when I was 5 years old and my grandfather passed. And when he passed, he actually hung out around the house for about 2 weeks. But only myself, my sister, and my cousin, they both were six, and they were always goofing on me. Um, Grandpa only revealed himself to us. And very old Victorian style home. So we had the keyholes and and the hallways are very dark. So they wanted me to go and look into a keyhole after they started looking into it. And then they said nothing when they backed away. They'd look, they'd put an expression on their face, and then they wouldn't say a word. So I was the third one, and they insisted. So, okay, fine. Who knows what they were going to do to me, being the little one. And so I looked, and there was my grandfather almost at the door, ready to open the door. So, not saying a word, I just screamed. I ran down the stairs, and they followed, and God only knows why, but we jumped on the kitchen table. High ground. We're kids. How do we know? And we broke it. And we got in big
Wow.
trouble for it. And then the adults wouldn't believe us. But afterwards, we started talking about it. And since it was Grandpa, we knew he wasn't going to hurt us. So then, after that, we went looking for him. And in 2 weeks, he presented himself in so many different ways. He was sitting in the library, his favorite library. Um, He was in his favorite chair in the living room, smoking his pipe. I mean, all these different things for 2 solid weeks. And when it was time for him to leave, or time enough for me specifically to get the message, because I'm the one who saw him the most, um, then he was outside at the lamppost and waved goodbye and just literally dissolved and disappeared.
Wow.
So that's the start, guys.
That is quite a start, I would have to say. Yeah, I would say that deeply impacted you and definitely started your journey. So it sounds like you have accumulated some cosmic friends over the years.
Oh, most definitely in a lot of different ways. I mean, I have definitely experienced visitations. Um, I have a few I could share, some not necessarily. But even when it was time to do my angel wing jewelry, when I had a line, not that we can see it very clearly in this type of camera, but these angel wings were shown to me through the Archangel Michael. And that was a visitation where he came and actually swung on a rope because I wasn't quite sure on how to carve these. And I wanted to get behind the wings and have it shaped just right. Didn't know what he was doing, just swinging back and forth with the wings spread. And this was obviously in the wee hours of the night. That's when I get real creative. And when I finally finished it about 6 in the morning, it was done. And then he stopped, smiled, jumped off the rope, and disappeared.
Wow,
But I've been very fortunate to have Archangel Michael in my life, my whole life.
that's amazing. Those are such beautiful glimpses into a few different experiences you've had over the years.
Well, yeah,
And
there have been a lot. Yeah.
so, sometimes people imagine spiritual journeys as always being blissful.
Yeah, all right. I know, I know.
But yeah, you've been pretty open about, challenges that you've experienced over the years. So maybe you can share a moment that wasn't so rosy, shall we say?
Yes, I'd love to. See, the thing is that no matter what happens to us, that there is the ability to be inspired by events that happen. And I really like to, not always capable of it, but most of the time, I would like to look at challenges as growth spurts. And so, yeah, okay, so I don't know why. Maybe somebody needs to hear this one. Okay, so some years back, I had my own fitness studio on the West Coast, and we went uh, white white water rafting. That's hard for me to say. Anyway, one of my students, she knew this area and this company. So we went, and it was supposed to be mild water. There wasn't supposed to be so much of a warmth so that the mountains aren't, the, the ice isn't supposed to be melting. Okay, to the degree that it was. Well, there was a big surprise. So we were supposed to be able to be in level 3 water, which is okay. We were all fit, really strong, great. Our guide, his name was Crash. We should have taken that as a sign. And ultimately, we ended up in water that was 4.5. And we were novices. Okay, novices do not belong in 4.5. So in the process, the raft got flipped. So there's the panic in the water, all this stuff going on. There was one gal that was way out. Another gal went on top of the raft, spread eagle. So you can't flip it back. So what good is that? There was somebody that was far out. So I went after her and I flipped her back in, not realizing I was going to project myself out further. So in that process, okay, I see this huge boulder coming at me and the absence of water because it gets sucked away, right? The currents.
Mhm.
There was nothing I could do. That's it. So I did what I knew how to do, and I just put myself into the creator's hands and closed my eyes. That's what I did. I can't tell you from that point to the other side, but somehow I came through to the other side completely unscathed
Wow.
with no water And yet there I was on the other side. And we found out later that that weekend there were 3 deaths in the river that we were in. So being fortunate, knowing that there's someone that watches over us, beyond ourselves. Thank you, Grandpa. I was able to go in that place, but I just completely submitted. So that is kind of a bizarre situation that I do not recommend, by the way. Uh, so these things can happen, but why and how can they happen is that we stay more connected inside to ourselves. And what that did spur on for me after is that I set up a particular segment of boot camp training for anybody that wants to take on a heavy sport. We'll call it a sport. It
Hmm.
was just an adventure. It wasn't being like a sport. But there's certain things that you have to know and be prepared about and be able to keep a cool head under duress. Like when I was caught in the Northridge earthquake. And most people were running out and the building was crashing. It was like the Poseidon Adventure. And people were running down the hall, screaming and all this, and the building was colliding. And so again, if you think you're only alone, then there's more panic that happens. It's like you can't ground yourself for a second. And yeah, let me tell you, first 30 plus seconds, I was not cool. It's like, what the hell? But then it's important to be able to collect yourself. So, yes, those are challenges, growth spurts, stories to talk about later down the road, for conversation, but very, very real. And it starts to show you, what you're made of and what parts of yourself could you possibly improve. That when adversity does show itself, that you'll be able to move within it the best to your ability instead of causing more problems for yourself when you panic. So
Beautiful.
that's just one thing. There's many things throughout my whole life. So is a spiritual journey necessarily all kumbaya and flower child la 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 no. I'm here to tell you from my own personal and professional experience. No.
Wonderful. So, really, we can view challenges as opportunities of inspiration to propel us into whatever that next level is, as you said, a growth spurt.
Absolutely. And of course there's very gentle ways of inspiration. I mean, I'm a nature girl. I was known as the barefoot Contessa ever since I can crawl and spend most of my time outside whenever I can. And the wild animals, which I still take care of, are like my friends and everything about nature. And we're also part of nature, which people forget. So it's our interaction there, but there's so much to be inspired about. And that's why they say, if you're really troubled about something, go to the ocean and just look at the vastness of the ocean. And then whatever is bothering you, even momentarily, becomes a little smaller. And so it helps put things into a expanded perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love being next to the ocean. It always makes me just appreciate life and inspires you by her beauty. So, yes, always visit nature if you're needing a breakthrough.
And
And
even if you don't live by it, you can certainly, there's enough images and things on YouTube and stuff where you can get the sound and you can feel the different places. It's really important. It feeds our soul.
beautiful. I love that. and how you're bringing in that, creating like an experiential experience for yourself, even if you can't physically be somewhere, you still have other senses that you can tap into that moment.
Absolutely. Well, like when I got into that freak accident, saving the wild turkey that I take care of through the winter, and flock came in and attacking the poor baby. And let's just say, fast forward, I was bedridden for 5 months, couldn't move hardly at all, and so I couldn't get outside. So I had a small TV delivered to me. And got Roku, and then I was able to put myself back there because at first, because it was so traumatic, um, I lost myself. I didn't even know who I could be if I could never walk again because that freak accident broke my foot 3/4 off my leg, shattered part of my leg, and all that. So they didn't even know if they could save my foot at the time.
Wow.
But happy to say, not only do I have that immobility, and soon I'll be finally able to start hiking again.
Woohoo! Well, that is perfect. Segue. I was going to ask you, for someone that's feeling stuck, and obviously that was a time where you were maybe feeling stuck or even unclear on what was going to happen next.
Mhm.
What would be something that someone could make that first shift so that they could reconnect, to their own clarity?
Well, I think that, and I know people hear this all the time, but I'm going to say it anyway, guys. It's breathing with awareness. Because here's the thing. When you feel all this anxiety, feel lost, feel overwhelmed, okay, you go into what they call the fight or flight syndrome, which is the sympathetic. So you're breathing shallow and short and in the chest. And when you intentionally breathe and start to just listen to your breath coming into your body and your breath leaving your body and getting that into a rhythm or a flow, regardless of how much the inhale is and the exhale is, you treat it as a wave. That's called heart coherence, and it brings you down into that calming, restful state, which is parasympathetic. So now your body starts calming down, the mind starts quieting, the emotions start quieting. And in that process, even though it might only be for the start seconds or even a split second, that's more than what you had before. And then you build on that. You start to practice that. And sure, a lot of times you're going to resist it, for sure, but that's okay. That's just a human response, but then you come back to it. And that's one of the first things that I always recommend and I always teach with my students in the workshops, everything. Breath is life force energy, and the power that's in our breath when we're consciously aware and connecting the body and the breath together so they can communicate, and then they can start having the brain be directed at what to do instead of running away with you and all the thoughts and all the negative thoughts. And then we start to gain some clarity and then start to understand how energy, your own energy, the connection, and from the connection, you can start setting an intention. And when you do that, you can come over into consciously manifesting what you want instead of wildly manifesting anything, because that's what we do all the time, consciously or unconsciously. And so it makes a difference, but it's a journey and it's a first step.
Wonderful. Yes. And, I think more than ever, it's so important to remember to just pause and breathe with intention. As you said, we have so many things that can pull our attention away. So this is a perfect tool to utilize in your everyday.
And everybody has it. It's free. You can do it on your own. You can listen to a piece of music that you like the rhythm, and you can just breathe with the rhythm of the music. But you inhale through the nose and you exhale through the mouth to start to create this heart coherence. And yes, it does impact your heart, the beats, the pulses, everything slows down to more of a normal, steady rate. There's a lot to the physiology with it too. And yes, you can also start raising your endorphins. So emotionally, you start feeling a little better.
I love
So,
it.
yay, I love it too.
So, okay, you did mention one thing, and I just wanted to go back to it. You had said that source energy can help us design our reality. So can you maybe explain a bit more what that means, for
Well,
those listening?
sure. Here's the thing. When you really like something and something makes you feel really good, that's a form of being inspired, right? And that feeling that you get, you're starting to, it's not just emotion, it's also your energy. And that energy, when you feel good about something, you're raising your frequency. And as you're raising your frequency, now you start to feel more of actually beyond yourself. It doesn't mean that you, in the beginning, consciously can really pay attention to it, but you can pay attention to the fact that I feel I feel really good right now. And in that emotion and in that higher frequency, that is a perfect time to, if there was something you were trying to sort out or something that you wanted that seemed too far away. And I'm talking small things right now. I'm not talking big, huge, full change of life yet. That takes more practice, more guidance. But you intentionally can start jotting things down, and you'll notice when you're in that state, you'll say nicer things. And so, in those nicer things that you're jotting down, or what you're thinking, or what you're saying out loud, you're now aligned more to what you actually want to create. And so you're speaking more of an appropriate alignment language for the universe to start bringing it closer into your life and start magnetizing it.
Wow. I feel like you just shared such a big secret. But
Everything's a secret until you know how to work with it, right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've traveled a long road for all of this to come out more simplistically.
hmm
And that's why I'm here at this lifetime anyway, is to really bring this forward for the people that are ready to start to put more light and recognize and become more aware of how they're more of a bigger being than just the human part, and how we can really start reconnecting and realigning and honestly start intentionally magnifying to manifest what we want in our lives and something beautiful. So
Wonderful.
with that, emotion is a very important thing. And I do want to say this part.
hmm
I didn't understand that a while back, but seemingly unnatural, people would say unnatural, I will call it not the norm, can happen when very strong emotion is connected to something. So, you know how you hear people will, if somebody's trapped under a vehicle and all of a sudden this human who's not very strong all of a sudden can lift the car to get the person out?
hmm
Of course, there's a consequence on the body afterwards because the body's not meant to do that. Um, but I had an incident, well, I've had a few, that I had a very deep emotional tie with my grandmother and my grandfather. I mean, I was very close to them. But when I was on the West Coast and my grandmother was here on the East Coast, something happened. And unfortunately, they gave her the wrong meds. And she was pulling an all-nighter with the girls in in the living establishment where they all were. And so they played cards. She made breakfast for everybody. And then one of the neighbors went to check on her for something and found her on the floor. She was given the wrong meds.
Mm.
And so she wound up in the hospital. She went into a coma quite quickly. And so quickly that I couldn't get to her fast enough. And my emotion was so extreme of not reaching my grandmother that I was able to go to her. Now, whether I saw her in that projection or whether I astral planed over to where she was, I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you when I was there, I had the conversation with her. I could tell you exactly what her room was, what she was wearing, everything. And I was there with her when she passed,
Mm.
even though my physical body was still over on the West Coast. And in that process, after she passed, it was like boom, I was instantly back into my body. And later the phone rang, and it was my dad, and I said yes, and I told him the exact time she passed. Um, so here was something, even though that was tragic because my grandmother had so much life left in her, but we don't know our times, okay? So that's why it's important to really appreciate life, get inspired, learn to love your life regardless of what's going on. But she taught me that a key element when you really want to magnetize something to you, the emotional component also has to come into play as well.
Definitely.
So there's a formula, a combination, at least from my experiences, and also my mentorship with all the masters. And anybody that needs to look me up, it's right on my About page in my website, because it's a lineage, and we're not going to take the time in that. But I did want to honor the fact that for the people that do have out of the ordinary experiences, look back on them and see what kind of emotion was tapped to it. And even if it was an intense fear or something, it doesn't make it bad. It just shows you that there is a combination there. So, with that, of course, it's important to bring this as forward as I can. And that's why we have CSI, Create a Source of Inspiration. And by the way, this is what Spirit gave me, guys, as a little pun, because sometimes I am a goofball. And and I'll go, CSI, okay, what are we going to do with that one? And then they were laughing and they said it's Create a Source of Inspiration. And that's very true. So that came to be. And then holistic health on topic came to be because I had a lot of colleagues that I wanted to help them help other people. And you can't help anybody if they don't know you exist. So that's kind of how that platform got established. But every piece of this was inspiration, just like what we're launching from tonight. For the first time, I'm actually launching a webinar. Okay, never did it before, so hopefully this is very helpful for everybody because now you can set your own time schedule. It's not like when I do a workshop on a Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So everybody that's busy with still the summer stuff and then also getting ready for school and all that, um, I was hoping and I got inspired and directed. I get a lot of guidance from my cosmic tribe, by the way. We're always in communication. I mean, real dialogue like this. Okay, folks. So yeah, that's real. If you think you're doing that, then you probably are. But in the process, it's something now that works with the energy, with intention, to show you how to literally create the reality you want. So in it, there's different exercises and stuff, and then there's an opportunity after to be able to, if it's something you want to go deeper with, you can connect with me. You fill out an application to make sure that I know how to help guide you. And this fall is the first and the only time this year that people are going to have an opportunity to work with me directly. I'm still a caregiver. Okay, I still have one parent, and so that's 24/7. So a lot of time frames are limited, but also at the same time, the reason why I'm here on the planet does not get to take second seat. So I'm here for you guys if you resonate with me, and and hopefully you'll feel and see that you'll get a lot out of it. You'll be able to go back and replay and take notes with it if you want. And hopefully, you'll have some questions for me to help guide you forward in your journey because there's more than one option going on. Other than the seminar, other than the group program, there's also something simpler in a home study that I put together, which they helped me because honestly, everybody hits a road. Everybody hits some sort of stop and they don't understand it. They don't know how to move from it, yet they want to move from it. So I've got that out there too. That's why I'm known as spirituality with practicality.
I love
Does
that.
that help?
It does. It really breaks it down, and you can relate to that spirituality with practicality. So, after hearing all these stories today, if you resonated with all these beautiful experiences and you're ready to go further, Karina has some incredible opportunities. I encourage you today, as she said, is the first day. The webinar is going to be available. So, definitely hop in and register for that. And this can shift your frequency and your focus. So, what more could we ask for?
And that is my hope for anybody that needs this, that they're able to receive this. So just so you know, it is free access. You have to register, but it is free access to it.
Amazing. Well, Karina, this has been incredible. I'm pretty sure all of our viewers would agree with me. I am ready to have you back and learn some more. So we're definitely going to have to do this again.
All right. Well, yeah, there's a couple of fun stories I'd like to share, but there's plenty of that to go around. And depending on what questions pop up, so please, guys, if there's any questions that you've got, we'll catch them when you put them in the comments, and we'll kind of build my next visit on that. And yes, you can ask what you want. You can ask about talking to animals and all of that too, because I'm known as a bull whisperer. And yeah, that's a story in itself. So, so there's stuff. And yeah, but it's be inspired. Learn to love your life. Learn to understand the things that don't seem so great in your life, that the universe is not working against you. There are nuggets, there are gems in there for you each and every time. And as far as rough goes and overwhelm and all that stuff, I've lived so much of that and at the same time was so blessed. So it's there for you if you want it, is the best thing I can say. And I'm here for you to help you.
Oh, wonderful. I love that so much. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us here today on CSI. Of course, come back, check the replay, view some of our other episodes if you want. We've always got something great going on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe, and we will see you all next time.
Yes, we love it. Subscribe, become part of our tribe. We would love to have you in the energy of it. And we'll talk more about Soma as well, Soma breath. And I'm going to invite you real quick to start jumping into Soma Sundays. And you'll find them on YouTube. And you can also jump into the Zoom room for that too. And I might see you there.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you
So
so
come to
much.
the webinar. We'd love to have you.
Okay, we'll see you all next time. Ciao for now.
Ciao, sending you with many, many blessings.